A burst pipe. A dead water heater. The AC calling it quits. Who do you call? HomeServe is an easy way to handle unexpected home repairs, with plans covering stuff basic homeowners insurance usually won't. Instead of scrambling for a contractor, you make one call to get the repair process started. Join the millions of customers who trust HomeServe right now. Go to homeserve.com/podcast for 50% less your first year. That's homeserve.com/podcast. Savings compared to renewal price, void in Florida.
Shipping, billing, admin, payroll, marketing. You're managing all the things, so why waste time sending important documents the old-fashioned way? Mail and ship when you want, how you want with Stamps.com. Print postage on demand 24/7 and schedule pickups from your office or home. Save up to 90% with automated rate shopping. That's why over 1 million small businesses trust Stamps.com. Go to Stamps.com and use code PODCAST to try Stamps.com risk-free for 60 days.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending. Zero tears.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
You're listening to the Animation Addicts podcast with the Rotoscopers, episode 372, The Sheep Detectives. Get that back.
Welcome to the Animation Addicts podcast with the Rotoscopers, the #1 place to get your animation fix with animation addicts just like you. Each episode, we dive into the wonderful world of animation featuring Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, and everything in between. From hilarious discussions and movie reviews to interviews with industry insiders, this show's mission is to brighten your day through our love of animation. So hop on your nerdy couch, grab some snacks, and get ready to hang out with your animation besties because it's time to dive into today's episode.
Hey there, animation addicts. I'm your host, Morgan Stradling.
And I'm Chelsea Robson.
Ba-ram you, ba-ram you. To your breed, your fleece, your clan be true. Sheep be true, ba-ram you.
Welcome to the Animation Addicts podcast. We are here to talk about Sheep Detectives, which is a movie that has been out in theaters for a minute, but it just came to Prime Video, and I got to see it for the first time last night, and I said, Morgan, let us watch this and review this, because honestly, I thought it was going to be, it looked cute from all of anything that I saw about it. It just looked like a cute movie. And after watching it, I was like, wow, this was way deeper than it had any right to be. And I really enjoyed it. So Morgan, let's talk about the sheep.
The sheep.
Lisa, I thought you loved me. Loved me. Why does it talk like a lamb? Simpsons always did it before.
Simpsons did it first. All right, the movie is Sheep Detectives. It's directed by Kyle Balda, written by Craig Mazin. Production companies are Amazon MGM Studios. The music was by Christoph Beck, who you might recognize from a variety of things, but he was the composer of Frozen. Going back to production companies, we have Amazon MGM Studios, working title films, Three Strange Angels, Lord Miller Productions, distributed by Amazon MGM Studios. The release date was May 8th, 2026. It had a $75 million budget and had a box office. It's still in theaters, chugging along very slowly, limping along at $126 million. So did it make back its marketing and everything? Probably not, but yeah.
Yeah. But it was so delightful, and we don't know what the deal is with streaming.
True. But, okay, so before we talk about this, I think we need to introduce the film, what it's about, and then we'll talk about the actors, because I think the cast is really critical to this.
Uh-huh.
Or part of it, yeah.
Yeah, so the plot of this story is George Hardy is a shepherd who is, he's just such a loving shepherd to his entire flock. He loves each one of them. He believes each one needs a name. He loved them dearly, and he even told them nighttime stories, and he made a medicine for them, invented a medicine, and helped in any way that they could. And then all of a sudden, one day, he ends up dead. And then it becomes a whodunit, because all of the sheep, every night that he would read to the sheep, he always read these murder mystery books. And so they were primed to expect that anything was a murder, but also they were primed to recognize a murder when they saw it and to know how to go about solving these murders. And so hilarity ensues.
Yes. This was a really funny one because I knew it was available, and at first glance it was like, I don't know if that's a movie I want to see. Mm-hmm. Then I saw some reviews of people saying, this is so delightful. This is charming. This is a lot of fun. And then I ended up seeing it and thought the same thing. I went to the screening and I thought, this is delightful. This is so fun. This is charming. This is different. This feels old school, as in like 90s, 80s sort of films. Yeah. Just like you make a film just to make a fun film with a fun premise. It didn't. And I told so many people about it.
And it has a good balance of kind of British humor in there too. So it's like anybody who likes the British energy, it's nice. Yeah.
I loved the cast. So let's go to the cast that we have here. You know, Hugh Jackman obviously is the big draw for this one. You know, he is. I was on Rachel's show and she'd had this showdown, the Battle of the Hughes, and it was Hugh Jackman versus Hugh Grant. And
versus Hugh Hefner?
No, thankfully. We did not involve his films in this. We were looking at their catalog and their work, and me and the other guest and her had to say like which one we preferred, and the other guest by far and away said Hugh Grant, and I by far and away said Hugh Jackman for body of work and just everything. And yeah, I thought it was just really interesting. But the Hugh Jackman, he plays George Hardy, who's the shepherd, who is, you know, knocked off in the first, how do the British say it? Yeah, he's killed in the first act. And then we have a fun cast of character, including a bunch of sheep. We have Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Lily. We have Bryan Cranston as Sebastian. We have Chris Dowd as Mupple. Regina Hall as Cloud. Patrick Stewart as Sir Richfield. And I'm trying to think of any other notable
Brett
names.
Goldstein as the Reggie and the brother.
Reggie and Ronnie.
Yeah, he was fun. I like him.
Yeah.
I became a big fan of him watching Ted Lasso.
Yes. And then we have our He-Man, Prince Adam himself, Nicholas Galitz. I needed to look up how to say his name. Galitzine?
Dimitri.
Yes. Dimitri's his middle name. He was Elliot Matthews, the reporter. We have I really love this guy, Nicholas Braun as Tim Derry, the clumsy local police officer. I thought he was great. We have
entire
Molly.
Police department.
Yes, exactly. Molly Gordon is Rebecca Hampstead, who's George's daughter. And then Emma Thompson was George's solicitor, meaning like a attorney.
Lawyer.
Yeah. And just a really fun whodunit, whole bunch of characters. I love the premise of this. It's just a classic sort of premise with a twist, which is the sheep.
Yes. Yeah, I felt like going into it, I did want to see this going into it. I thought it looked cute. I am a sucker for a cute little film, you know? And the fact that you had the Hugh Jackman type in there, I like Hugh Jackman. I also like Hugh Grant. I like the Hughes. So I am a sucker for either. I went into it though not having that high of expectations because I knew that not very many people had seen it, but a lot of people, anybody that I did say it, they were like, "Oh, it was good," you know. And then when I actually saw it, there were a lot of moments where I was just like, "Oh man, this is deep. This is
almost too much.
This is almost too much." Yeah. I don't know how to input my thoughts right now. So, Morgan, let's start with you, and then I will input my thoughts.
Sure. So, one thing that I initially stood out about this film was the sheep. The sheep are one of the main characters, if not some of the most important characters. I mean, they're critical to this film. And I thought And it was just a shame to me that we didn't see one darn real life sheep in the whole thing. It was a bummer. Even the wide shots, because they go to this beautiful town. It's a real town.
Gorgeous.
And it's just a classic British countryside. And there's just like a few little homes, and it's just all countryside and pastures and green. And as someone who lives in Arizona, it's just like, oh my gosh, places like this exist. Yes, they exist like that in the States, I know. But, you know, it's just so quaint.
Not close to me.
And then, you know, you have the sheep here, and you have these big wide shots of the sheep in the pasture. And the CGI was very well done for the most part. As far as the talking of the animation, I thought it was really good, very convincing, didn't throw me out of it. The only time that I felt off was when we saw wide shots of the sheep moving. I guess that did not work for me. It just felt very clunky and very simulated. I guess maybe the reason they didn't do that is because they had these very distinct sheep. Each were a different breed and a different color, which was smart to really offset them and to separate them from everyone else. If they were all the same breed of sheep, we would have very quickly gotten lost. And, you know, Babe, it's one breed of sheep, but not that many sheep talk. And the differentiation between the sheep, other than the old one that dies, right, which clearly is dead, doesn't really make a difference. But in this one, we needed to know, to be able to visually see and interpret who was who and who was speaking and whatnot. So, yes, that was my only kind of real bummer about this. Was we went all to this great extent to have this beautiful physical set as much as possible. I'm sure there were a few sets here and there, but this landscape was just, and scenery was part of the show. Yeah. And just not even a real sheep was a shame to me. So that's not even going into the plot of the film.
Yeah. I didn't have any real issues with the animation of it. I felt I can see where you're saying that though, but it didn't bother me. I felt I was so captured by the actual story because it was just so cute. I can say that I wasn't that much of a fan of Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the main sheep. Not that I didn't like her. It was just like, I don't know. It seemed most of the time I kept trying to figure out who it was. And then now that you say that, I'm like, oh, duh. I should have just looked it up and have been like, well, yeah, that is her, obviously. Yeah. So that did kind of take me out, mostly just because I was me. But the part that really got me thinking outside, because there's one aspect of the plot that's just an interesting thing that they put in there that doesn't have to be really in there. But it was just interesting that they decided to let this be a plot side note, I guess. I don't know how you would even say this, but there is all of the sheep have the ability to forget whatever they want on the count of 3, except for one. There's one sheep that can't forget anything. And so Lily turns back to that sheep and says, hey, I know that you can't do that, so please just don't remind us of this later because we'd rather not think about it, right? And he was just like, okay. And it felt so sad about that. And then later on, something happens, one of the sheep is trying to tell the other, the newborn lambs, what the rain and thunder is. And he's like, well, it's time for you to know what it all is. And he comes out and it's like, well, it's because at some point in time, all of us become clouds. That's what happens. All the clouds are actually sheep that we go out and we just become clouds. And then Lily's like, yeah, my mom and dad are clouds. I don't remember when they became clouds though. And then turns back to the other sheep and asks do you remember? And he's like, yes, I do. Aww. And just he just goes along with it and knows that it's going to hurt her to think about that. And so he is just he just goes along with it. And it's like, yep, that's what happened. They all turned to clouds. And then later on there's a moment where she's like, okay, this was just so traumatic. We're all just going to forget about it. And then there's another sheep that says, no, you're not going to forget because these people, George was good to you and he deserves to be remembered. And if you just go ahead and forget him, then it's like he never existed. And he was good to all of us and he needs to exist in our minds. And she, after a while, she's just like, okay. And then she's like, oh, but it hurts. And then turns to the other sheep that can't forget things. He's like, do you remember all of the times that this has happened when another sheep has died? And he's like, yes. Oh. And it's like, you've just been carrying this alone? Like how heavy. And I just thought like that was such a nuanced plot point to put in there that they didn't have to throw something in there, but it was like it's so human and so relatable. Yes. For myself, I took care of my parents as both of them had dementia, and there was one point in time where my dad was just so far gone that he was playing with his grandson on the ground and just like playing some toys or something. And then there was another kid, I think, there, and he was at my brother's house, and my sister-in-law was telling the other kid like, your mom's going to be here soon. Like, and you got to get ready to go. And then my dad like looked at her and was like, well, when is my mom coming? And you could just see that he thought he was one of them in that moment. Like he thought he was like a 6-year-old. And then my sister-in-law just was like, well, she passed away a long time ago. And then it was like everything just hit him again as though he had never heard it before. Oh. And it was just so hard for him. And so it was just one of those things that like we never talked about my mom. We never talked about anybody that was gone to him during the last year and a half of his life, because it was just like, why? Like, why bring that up for him? And so if he ever said something, it was just like, yep, that's right. Okay, moving on. So I saw a lot of that struggle in these little moments, and it was just like, wow, I did not expect this to be there. And for me, like it was gratifying to see that kind of nuance put into a movie like this, that it like you're not going to see it, and if you haven't lived through something like that, then you may not see that, but the fact that they put it in there, I appreciated it.
Yeah, I think that's what was so fun about this movie. Not fun, but what made it so enjoyable is that it wasn't your traditional movie that you were expecting.
Yeah.
You went in thinking it was going to be a fun whodunit with sheep.
And it was.
Yes, and it was. And it delivered on that. But on the other end, it provided this philosophical element that you were not expecting.
Yeah, and it's just like, but isn't that just such an interesting thing to put in? Like, I don't even think that that's actually a thing with sheep, is it? That they just forget things?
I think it's just that they're so stupid that they're just dumb. Yeah.
they just do all forget.
Maybe that's why we couldn't have any real sheep in the movie, because they're so dumb they cannot be trained. Yeah, like, we're not doing that.
I mean, it's true. We used to have sheep at the ranch, and it was so easy to just corral them, because they would go in like one mass, and not one of them was the leader, not one of them was the one that was trying to keep everybody safe or whatever. They were all just like reactionary. So
yeah, story checks out.
It does. It really, really does. So I can see that. And then also that the fact that they had the rams coming in of like, I really want to bash it. I really want to bash it. I'm like, also checks out. We had these ram once that it was just like, you couldn't go into its pen because it would always try to bash you. And like, yeah, so it was just like, I had these moments of like, stay away from these animals.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Did you go in, was the person that you thought the murderer, the one who ended up being the murderer? Murderer. Yes, traitors.
Well, Lily thought from the beginning that it was the daughter, because obviously she had the most to gain. This medicine that he had created, he ended up selling to some kind of corporation, and they got $30 million out of it. Like, get your bag.
Yes.
That's awesome. But he hadn't updated his will, or at least maybe that was on purpose. He was going to keep that $30 million was going to go to a helping animals kind of foundation. And then he instead, how convenient that his new will showed up just out of nowhere and was not signed. And
We've seen that before with Michael.
yes. Just showed up. Oh, wow. Look at that.
A new will.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, did I think that it was the daughter? Or did I think... I honestly didn't really put it out there. I did like how they put all of these people in the same grouping as a... like, you're the bad shepherd, you're the two killers or something like that. Like, I was like, I appreciated the little play on words that he threw into that. And I also liked that when the reporter shows up, he's just like, are you serious? This is what I was sent to do? And like, it was believable. Like his reaction to that was like, oh my gosh. Like, so it was, I felt like that was believable. And then he was, played a good part. So for him to come out as the actual son, was a surprise to me.
From the very beginning, I thought, wow, he's a blonde guy, but his hair was terrible from the beginning. I'm like, why is his hair so bad? I didn't know him from Adam. I didn't know from
Adam. Prince Adam. He had a big year this year.
He did. I'm very proud of him, but I didn't know him previously to have, I saw this before I saw He-Man and even before I looked him up on Wikipedia and such. And so I thought he looked sort of Asian in a way. Like he was an Asian actor. And so I just didn't recognize him. And I just thought, wow, his hair's looking weird. But I didn't even take the next step to be like, why would his hair be weird?
Yeah.
Should there be a reason?
It's like, you just really did. You just didn't do this right.
They just really wanted him blonde and did a bad job. Okay. I understand the $75 million budget now. Although... maybe a $5 million budget, I would give it a pass. But yeah, it was all part of the plot.
Yeah. I can expect that with Peter Lorre being in charge of this. So I like it. I didn't understand, and I might have zoned out for a second when they said that the reason why they didn't like winter lambs. Do you remember why that was?
I think it was just like...
But for whatever reason, they were like, no, we don't trust them.
It was just like an innate prejudice that they had for them because they were born in the winter versus the normal springtime. So it was like just that alone.
It was so sad.
That was sad.
That poor little baby was just out, and I was like, be nice to him.
Speaking of, I've just watched the episode of Elaine, you got to have a baby. Tying it all in.
Why you gotta be so mean? You also had Sebastian, who was he had quite the backstory, where was he a ram? He was some kind of
a sheep. Yeah, a former fighter at a carnival, but doesn't list him as a lamb.
Yeah, they ended up the carnivals, the evil carnies took him and then made him go up against fighting dogs. And so then these dogs would get this poor lamb all bloodied up, and then the George, saw him, came out and was his rescuer and bought him and took him back. And and he always had the whole town and everybody just kind of saw him as an aloof and kind of wild. The other shepherd was like, oh, that one, he got that one at a carnival. He's just wild. You can't tame him. And it's like everybody, like human and animal, were just kind of against him, except for Lily was just like, I mean, we don't have to dislike him.
Yeah.
And he was he was a nice guy. And then later on, and he ends up going up against the dogs from the neighboring field, and then dies, and that's what makes her want to forget death again. And I was like, oh, for the sting of the emotion, he had to die, but it was sad.
Yeah. Yeah, see, again, so many moments in this movie where you're just not expecting substance.
Yeah. And, okay, do we just not expect substance at all anymore?
Well,
when was the last
Talking Sheep movie?
Well, yeah.
But then again, the last Talking Sheep movie that we had was quite good. So
Babe was kind of the
we've
best.
forgotten. Ding!
It was kind of the best. And I'm just like, but really, have we forgotten really what substance is? Because if you're looking at so many movies out there that are just kind of fluff and to like something to play in the background. There was an interview with Matt Damon on the, I believe it was on the Joe Rogan Experience, where he made mention that most of the movies that he's in now, they like repeat their phrases. They repeat plot points throughout the movie in case you forgot, because most people just watch these things in the background. And so he made the point that, you know, if you see movies these days, they're like just substance wise, they just have such low expectations of people to sit down and actually watch, which makes me sad.
Yeah, unfortunately it's the way, but this one allowed you to have time. It was slow. It took its time to get places. Really spends a good amount of the first act talking about the shepherd and his connection with the sheep, and then just gets deep, you know, all along the end as we're learning about the sheep and their issues. I mean, this is more a movie about the sheep than it is the humans. The humans are kind of just accessories to the plot, you know, for the fun whodunit. But they're not that important as far as other than just surface level, like, oh, I had a crush on him, or I'm the lawyer, or I'm the son, I'm the daughter. They have the twist with the son and the daughter, but it's about the sheep at the end of the day, which was fun. And what I loved about this movie is that this was a family film, but it didn't come off as a family film. It felt like an old school, that's what I said, it felt like a 90s film, and it felt like one of those old school 90s films that was just a movie. It wasn't necessarily like, this is our family movie. It was just a movie that was clean and normal, and you could take a family to it and have a good time. And my kids did go see it with their dad, and then they went and took a church group at the same time. And, you know, I got a lot of fat cat points for buying all those tickets.
Nice.
Took about 20 people, which was great. But, you know, they all enjoyed it. The teenagers liked it. The adult leaders that went really enjoyed it. And one even mentioned, like, I'm going to go take my husband to see this. And then my children were there when they enjoyed it. And it was just, it had something for everybody. And maybe I just have a blind spot. I feel like films like that just don't come up as much anymore. Maybe we'll get one, maybe two.
Yeah.
But even on, like, Harold the Purple Crayon, for example, that still feels kiddish. Like, it feels targeted at children versus like a bigger family film, you know?
Yeah.
And this was just, no, it's just a movie. That's what we're going to tell, and bring your kids. Yeah.
One point of, you know, talking about it's more about the sheep and everybody else is kind of auxiliary, is the fact that the sheep are the ones dropping off all the clues and all of the things to the humans, of being like, hey, you have, like, read the book. Here's the book you got to read in order to figure out and solve the murder. And then he was just like, oh man. What was nice though is you saw when he, as I'm thinking about it now, it's like he came in and he had all of the suspects lined up and all of the things that they needed to match up to see if they actually were the killer. And that was when the reporter comes in and he sees that his face isn't on the list, and so he's like, yeah, this is amazing. let's go with this.
Yeah.
So
it was just so preposterous, but so fun at the same time. Like, it was a movie you're like, this is silly, and I love it. And yeah, it's a shame. I think it really had this uphill battle at the box office, despite fantastic word of mouth. And let's look at for box office, it did, like we said, it did $126 million worldwide. It's still being played, you know, as of, it ended its run this past Thursday. Okay. And that's a bunch of movies started coming out. So finally it ended its run. But if we're looking at the Rotten Tomatoes, I feel like it kind of like Toy Story 5, where it was just positive and positive. Let's see where we got for this real quick. Just as I suspected, 95% certified fresh from the critics and 96% verified hot from the audience. So everyone loved it. It was great, you know? Nice. And so movies like this, you know, they're just quaint little films that are low budget, rated PG. They listed as kids and family, comedy, mystery and thriller, action. What more could you want?
Right. A positive whodunit.
So, all right.
I was positive. I liked it.
What would you rate it?
I'm going to give it 4 stars. I just was, because it had that extra layer of something that I didn't expect, it just made me enjoy it all the more. And it's something that I would go back and watch just as something, like, even though it is something in the back, like I said, that's what we're doing is something in the background, but it's something that now I've already seen it. Mm-hmm. And I know that all of these things are, but it would, if I went and watched it again, even if it were in the background, I would still feel like, oh, this is the part I liked, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like it's a good one. I definitely would recommend it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I thought it was just charming, delightful, all the British words, stunning, spectacular, brilliant. Yes, quaint, very, very fine film. It was just fun. They did a really good job casting it. CGI, I prefer a real sheep here and there, but what can you do? They had to do what they had to do. Mm-hmm. And just fun plot, fun movie that you could take your family to. And I want more movies like this. I feel like if we got more like this, we'd be in a good place. So
I agree.
Major props to Amazon MGM Studios they've had a lot of home runs, a few stinkers with He-Man,
It wasn't a full stinker. It just at
box office stinker. Box office stinker.
There you go.
No. There's nothing. I don't want to cast any negativity on the quality of that fine film. But I really appreciate what they've been doing because they could very easily just have like the Netflix model where it's just the films are just kind of mediocre and okay, and they just shove them onto their streaming site, but they're investing in really decent films and scripts and directors and then giving it a fighting chance in the theaters. Yeah. And then putting it on Amazon Prime. So I'm giving Jeff Bezos, you're doing something right. Now, Rings of Power, let's talk about that. Not that, but as far as this section of what you're doing, bravo.
Bravo. When people win, we want to cheer them on for winning. We're proud of them.
All right, let us know your thoughts about Sheep Detectives. This was a really fun one. Go to rotoscopers.com/367. No, that's not even anything at all. That was long ago.
371?
Go to rotoscopers.com/372 and leave us your mini review and rating. And then, of course, we are going to be doing a mailbag episode coming soon. So as far as movies that we've done recently, if we can send us voicemails for Sheep Detectives, Michael, Toy Story 5, Minions, and Monsters and Minions. I still can't figure out which that one is. I just need to read it. And anything in the past few months that you have thoughts on, let us know. And don't forget, I also am doing my weekly live stream on Thursdays. Currently, the time is 11:30 Pacific time is when I go live. I kind of do a little box office recap and then talk about some animation news for the week. That has been a really fun time, so be sure to check that out on the Rotoscopers YouTube channel. Woohoo! You can go to rotoscopers.com/Morgan livestream, and that will give you the link to the live streams, and you'll be able to see the most recent one. I try to schedule them a few days to a week in advance, so that way you can ding the bell for that one to be notified and be prepared. And then the old ones are on there as well. So, yes, that's all I have for today. Anything you have left, Chelsea?
Nope, we're good.
Ba-ram you, I say.
Ba-ram you.
So with that, until next time, we are the Rotoscopers. Ba-ram you. Ba-ram you.
Can you finish the quote? Can you?
You're something. Please be true.
To your to Ba-ram you.
Wait, I'm gonna fix it.
To your something, to your fleece, your flock be true. Yeah, I had it for a second and now it's
okay, hold on. We gotta do this right. Ba-ram you. Oh, okay, I see it now. Can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Your line is...
Your line is...
Respond, please.
I thought you were were getting. I wasn't
There's
sure
more?
if that was like. I didn't know if that was like. I don't know. Welcome to the Animation Addicts podcast.
You've been listening to the Animation Addicts podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to help spread the word, be sure to share the podcast with your friends on social media. Just don't forget to tag us at Rotoscopers on Instagram and use the hashtag AnimationAddicts. For all the links and full show notes for this episode, go to rotoscopers.com/podcast. Now, if you still can't get enough for your animation fix, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and visit rotoscopers.com for more animation news, reviews, and interviews. Thanks for listening.